In today's society, we hear a lot about situations of police brutality within different communities. This can be a result of the training that they receive at the police academies. Since I was exposed at an early age of the inability of police officers to de escalate situations, I started to look more into the requirements that were needed to become a police officer. Throughout my youth, high school, and college career, my perception about the requirements that the police academy holds changed over time. In the first stage of my early youth, I was still naive as to how police enforcement worked and what it took to become one. Police officers are trained in a very defensive way rather than trying to de escalate situations. Going to a low income middle school, I realized that police officers on our campus never approach the situation in a way that would de escalate situation, but instead make it worse using physical force. There were several instances where two students were in an altercation, physical altercation, or in arguments, and police officers tended to use force rather than trying to talk it out and de escalate the situation. They had only made things worse using force. Because of where I lived and went to school, I was exposed as to how police officers approach situations such as physical altercations, not only in my school, but in my communities. In my neighborhood, there were several instances where violence could have been avoided if officers had approached the situation a lot better. While having these experiences, it made me question police enforcement training requirements. In high school, I started to look more into the training requirements that prospective officers had to go through to become a police officer. I quickly realized that there are several areas of training within the police academy. There are self-defense, firearms, use of force, self-improvement, legal education, and mental illness. Even though mental illness is one of those categories that they train on, the amount they spend training on it is less than the physical aspect of their training. Once I got to college, I was exposed to more information about the process of becoming a police officer, and I quickly realized that police officers are not trying to separate their bias. In college, I was exposed to the police enforcement on campus defend a and protect a statue over the freedom of speech of students and professors. As a POC student, like seeing that made me realize that the training requirements that the police academy requires police officers to take does not train on the separation of bias. This new perspective of the police enforcement and police academies have completely changed from when I was younger to now. In college, I started to have a better understanding of events that I witnessed growing up and now with police enforcement. After several years of understanding the requirements to become a police officer, I quickly realized that the training that they receive to maintain public order is not enough.